We have a major update. The Knicks are already limited with assets, but unfortunately now it is official. New York will lose access to a 2025 first-round pick. The Knicks are also looking to change Josh Hart's role after they confirmed a huge advantage. We're going to break down all of these latest reports today. But before we get started, about 52% of you watching this video right now are not subscribed to the channel. If you're enjoying the content, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button because it could really support all the great content that we're creating for you. And now, let's get started. The Knicks lose a 2025 first-round pick. It's no secret that the Knicks are limited with assets, especially after this past offseason when they made major trades happen to turn the Knicks into a contender. You have to pay to play, and the Knicks paid a heavy price. But one pick they retained after making all of these moves was that first-round pick from the Washington Wizards. But unfortunately, with the Wizards losing last night, Washington will officially have a bottom six record, which is not good news for the Knicks. Shout out to NBA insider Greg Feinberg for giving us the following information. According to him, the Washington Wizards will officially retain their 2025 first-round pick. The New York Knicks own the rights to that pick if it fell outside of the top 10. The protections move over to 2025-2026, where the pick is now top 8 protected. The Washington Wizards have clinched a bottom 6 record with the loss to the Indiana Pacers last night. The farthest the 6th worst team can fall in the lottery is pick number 10. So since the Wizards can't fall outside the top 10, they will keep their pick. The Knicks have access to that pick, but as mentioned, it's heavily protected. With the Wizards being such a horrible team, I'm not surprised that they're keeping their pick this year. And honestly, they're likely going to keep that pick next year as well, too. What happens if that pick does not convey into a first-round pick next year? It turns into 2 second-round picks. And that is exactly what's going to happen for the Knicks. That pick is going to turn into 2 seconds, and that's what they're going to end up getting with the Washington Wizards. The Wizards are not dumb. They are not going to give the Knicks a first-round pick in any way possible because they know if they do that, that's just helping the Knicks. And they do not want to do that at this point in time. They are going to continue to be a bad team, and they're going to continue to be in the lottery. And it's unlikely that New York will ever see this pick convey into a first-round pick. It's unfortunate, but I think we all knew that. Looking at the Wizards, looking at their roster, and honestly, looking at the years ahead for them. They're a very bad team now. They're going to be a very bad team next year, probably the year after that, and the year after that. They have a lot of rebuilding to do. So this was always expected. But now that it's official, it just further brings home the point just how limited New York is with their draft assets. I would not hold my breath if you're hoping for the Knicks to get a first-round pick from the Washington Wizards. Another topic that we have to cover today is the Knicks potentially changing Josh Hart's role. According to reports, when the Knicks were taking on the Clippers a few nights ago, New York noticed a huge advantage when Josh Hart was going up against the opposing team's centers. And because of that, they could look to make that change and have Josh Hart play against centers more often. Let's break down exactly what NBA insider Ian Begley had to say about this exact situation. Shout out to Ian Begley for giving us the following information. According to him, Josh Hart at times was being guarded by the Clippers' big man. New York was able to take advantage of that scenario. And according to Josh Hart, here's how they were able to do that. We got good shots off of that. A stagger, back cut, those kind of things. Dribble handoff, stuff like that. Playing faster. That's something that we want to do, especially with the 5 on me. I feel like we started to do that, and then I got into foul trouble, and that threw us off. Hart's play while guarded by a big is something to keep an eye on moving forward. Before we get back to today's show, I want to give a special thanks to today's sponsor, MyBookie. The madness is here. March Madness has been insane. High stakes matchups, intense confrontations, wild finishes, and each and every game gives you a great betting opportunity. And MyBookie has you covered. It's bringing back a favorite, the MyBookie Bet and Get. Place a bet on March Madness and get a surprise reward. Cash back, free bets, bonus chips. You never know what you're going to get. Sign up with promo code MM50 for a deposit bonus. If you don't want the bonus, no worries. Just let them know Recap sent you. Bet on any game, anytime, anywhere, only with MyBookie. And now, let's get back to the show. If Ian Bagley is saying this, and of course, he is well connected with the team, I am absolutely believing this. There's another reason I'm believing this as well, too. We've seen in the past that Tom Thibodeau likes to play Josh Hart against other bigs in the league. Just feeling that Josh Hart plays a little bit bigger than his size, and obviously, with his rebounding, he can rebound with the best of them. So when you play him against other bigs, you normally don't lose on the rebounding end as well, too. So that's sometimes why Tom Thibodeau has faith with playing Josh Hart against other bigs. But let me say this. We have Mitchell Robinson already. We have Karl Anthony Towns, and we have Precious Achiuwa. I understand that you want to use Josh Hart against other fives. And listen, if there's a clear advantage in doing that, and if you're Tom Thibodeau and you want to make that adjustment, more power to you. I have no problem with that. However, on a normal basis, I would probably rather have Mitchell Robinson against other fives, guarding other fives, going up against them, and have Josh Hart play Josh Hart's role, which is basically the everyman, doing a little bit of everything out there, being that hustle Hart, that hustle player. That's exactly who he is for this team. I don't want to change anything about that or his play. We realize and recognize, right, that he broke the Knicks franchise record for most triple doubles in a season with 9 by playing the role that he's always played. And that role has been very successful. Do we really want to change that just because we saw a few advantages? I understand wanting to change it if you see an advantage on a night-to-night basis. However, consistently with the roster that we have to play players in their positions when we can do it. And sometimes there's not an advantage to playing Josh Hart at the 5 or playing him against other fives, because sometimes there's a size discrepancy there and he will get beat and abused inside. And we don't want to see that happen as well, too. And if Hart is going up against other fives, he's liable to get into foul trouble. Isn't that what happened last game against the Clippers? We all saw that. So we don't want to see that happen again. Hart playing his natural role is what's best for this team. But if there is a clear advantage, maybe New York is getting very easy transition buckets because of Josh Hart going against opposing fives. If that's the case, use it. Do it during that night. But if other nights you don't see it working, then you also have to make that adjustment and understand it's not working and go to your other players. And that's what I want Tom Thibodeau to do. I do not want him to lean on Josh Hart as the backup power forward or potentially the backup center. Tom Thibodeau has done these type of things before, and I do not want to see him do it again. We have the talent on this team that should prevent him from doing all of this. You do not, I repeat, you do not have to play players out of position. And oftentimes, if you do that, injuries can happen. You want to know how I know that? I am replaying last season in my head each and every time as we get closer to this postseason, because I know what happened last year, and I do not want to see that happen again. We have to protect our players from themselves at times. And the best way to do that is to make sure they're resting, they're recovering, they're not playing while injured, and we're playing the bench. We're expanding the rotation, and we're giving minutes to the players that need it. This is what all the teams in the NBA do. And Tom Thibodeau needs to start doing that, needs to start developing that second unit. Because once we have that, plus the starting unit that we already have, we are going to be an extremely tough team to beat. We are going to be a force. Isn't that what we're supposed to be developing into? Isn't that the goal, or wasn't it the goal to start the season? Being that NBA Finals team, we can become that if we start playing like that. It's never too late in my book. Lock in and focus. Will this change happen? I think in the playoffs, anything can happen. But honestly, a fully healthy Knicks roster, there is no way I can see Tom Thibodeau playing Josh Hart out of position unless there is such an advantage there that Tom Thibodeau cannot ignore it and he must play Josh Hart out of position. But if that doesn't exist, the starting lineup we see, that's going to be kept. The bench unit we've been seeing, that is going to be kept because Tom Thibodeau has already shown us that is where he has his faith. And if that's the case, there really is not going to be any changes being made. But as we get to the postseason, could Tom Thibodeau experiment with different lineups? Absolutely. We've seen it already, especially due to injuries. And it's likely we're going to continue to see that tonight and moving forward for the rest of the regular season. But what about you guys? What do you think about the following reports indicating that the Knicks have lost access to a 2025 first-round pick? That pick belonging to the Washington Wizards. And what about these other reports indicating that the Knicks could potentially change Josh Hart's role as they look to play him against other fives? Let me know how you feel about that in the comment section below, guys, because honestly, I would love to hear from you. But that's going to do it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, go ahead and smash that like button, leave a comment below. And of course, guys, please subscribe to the channel. Until next time, Knicks fans, take care of yourself, your families, and each other. Peace and love.